Speaker recognizes Representative Kolazar.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Permission to speak to the entire package. Thank you. I rise today in opposition to these bills. They represent yet another piece of a nationwide effort to create barriers to voting. In America, the right to vote is a fundamental freedom. As the leading democracy in the world, our elections must be free, fair, and accessible. And as we ensure election integrity, we cannot infringe upon that freedom to vote. Michigan already has a voter ID requirement, one that has worked for years. Voters who come to the polls without ID sign an affidavit of identity under penalty of perjury. The current affidavit system has consistently protected our democratic process. In fact, 18,000 voters used the affidavit method in 2016, and 12,000 used it in 2020 with no evidence of widespread fraud. And don't just take my word for it. More than 250 audits of the 2020 election have been performed in Michigan and found that the vote was free, fair, and accessible. Even the Republican-led Senate Oversight Committee issued a report this morning that found there was no evidence of widespread fraud. These bills disproportionately impact people of color and college-age voters. Senate Bill 303, which requires voter poll workers to verify a voter's signature without any training or uniform standards, would clearly inject implicit bias into a process that should be objective. And it opens the voting process to potential abuse by volunteer poll workers. I can't help but wonder if a poll worker is more likely to find that signatures don't match when they see a young person or a person of color in front of them. This bill would also disproportionately impact seniors and individuals with disabilities who often have signatures that change throughout their lives. These requirements also present unique challenges for low-income voters who may not have access to the transportation or documentation needed to obtain an ID. Madam Speaker, I believe in democracy. But our democracy is just an illusion if every American can't exercise their fundamental constitutional right to vote. I urge my colleagues to oppose the creation of barriers that restrict the freedom to vote, and I urge a no vote on this entire package. Thank you, Madam Speaker.